Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Take 5. It is Tuesday, July 19th, 2011. We are in Mark chapter 1. We're going to finish chapter 1 today. Verse 40. And a leper came to him, imploring him, and kneeling, said to him, "If you will, you can make me clean." Moved with pity, he stretched out his hand and touched him and said to him, "I will be clean." And immediately the leprosy left him, and he was made clean. And Jesus sternly charged him and sent him away at once, and said to him, "See that you say nothing to anyone, but go, show yourself to the priest, and offer for your cleansing what Moses commanded, for a proof to them." But he went out and began to talk freely about it, and to spread the news, so that Jesus could no longer openly enter a town, but was out in desolate places, and people were coming to him from every quarter. You know, isolation is a terrible thing. Sometimes people are put in solitary confinement in prison or in prisoners of war camps, things like that, and they go crazy. Their minds do all kinds of things. And the situation back in Jesus' day with lepers is they were considered unclean, and they were not allowed to associate with the rest of society. Now sometimes they were solitary, and this may have been the case. Sometimes they were in their own group. But to not be able to socialize or meet with people is the worst kind of punishment. As I mentioned, even in prison, if you do something really bad, they put you in solitary confinement. That's the worst. To be alone with no contact with other people. So besides the fact that you've got this physical disease that's literally eating you away, and what leprosy does is it deadens the nerve endings of your extremities, and so to feel things, and people don't realize that they're wearing the ends of their fingers, the ends of their toes, their nose, their ears, things like that. They're wearing them off, and they literally start falling off, and they're falling apart. It's an awful, awful disease, and there still are some cases of it even around the world. Back then it was a lot more common. So Jesus does something interesting. I want to go back to the text here. He stretched out his hand and touched him. Probably the first time this man had been touched in years, since he'd had the disease. Jesus is always, if you're reading the passages here, Jesus is always doing something completely the opposite of what everybody else would do. Because Jesus had the ability to cleanse him of his leprosy. And he touched him. The main point I want to make today is to try to avoid judgments. Now I know it's a little bit of a stretch, but sometimes we maybe don't associate with certain people looking at the externals. Maybe we don't want to have anything to do with somebody we perceive as really rich because we think they're uppity. Maybe we don't want to associate with somebody that we think is really poor because we think they're dirty or they're needy or something. Perhaps we don't associate with certain skin colors. Or if we detect somebody has a different sexual orientation, we don't want to associate with them. Jesus associated with everybody, and he touched everybody. He didn't discriminate. So examine your own heart on that. Even with me, I still struggle with some of these things. Praise God, he has brought me a long way as I've learned to imitate my master. but I still got a ways to go. How about you? All right? We're all lepers spiritually. And Jesus has touched us all and healed us all. Let us look at everybody else that way, equal in His eyes. Come back tomorrow for the next edition of Take 5.